everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're back working on our 1945 Ford 2N loader tractor, and we're going to have a go at getting this loader fixed up. The loader mostly isn't too bad, but it does have a few issues. Number one, the lever for the trip is completely seized from sitting outside, so I'll have to get that freed up. The pipes for the hydraulics, there should be more of these clamps holding the pipes to the frame, and they're all gone. The pipes are all bent. We'll have to straighten them out. This pipe here is too long, so this hose ends up with a real loop in it. The fitting should be up around here, so we have to change that. This pipe here is bent. We'll just change it. Other stuff I'd like to do with this. We'll be doing a little bit of work up by the bucket. Nothing really too crazy. And mostly we have to fix this brake in the boom here. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. We'll get it ground out so it's got a nice notch in there. And then we'll clamp it together with a piece of angle iron so it's back as straight as we can get it. And we'll weld it around. I don't really want to fish plate it. If it breaks again, I'll have to. And then the last thing we're going to do is get all the fluid completely flushed out of this thing. You'll notice that this here, see there's your fill plug. The frame is the tank. So all the oil to run the loader is inside the frame. Quite interesting. This here's the fill plug. That's out. There's I guess that's maybe a vent or a breather over there. And this one here, I have no idea what that's for because maybe there's a grease fitting that's supposed to be in there, and there was a plug in there because all that's in there is the pin that holds the boom on. So I think we'll be replacing that with a grease fitting when we put it together, and we'll get this here greased up so that if we ever have to take this thing apart, there's half a chance it might come out. So now we got those vents out. We're going to crawl under here, and you can see right under there is the drain plug. And out it comes. It's supposed to hold 5 gallons. I'm not quite sure there's 5 gallons in this one because it would only lift the bucket up about a foot, and then you'd hear it start struggling. But we'll see what comes out. Now I pulled off the inlet hose to the pump, and that'll drain a bunch more of it out. Okay, now we're going to get this, while that stuff drains at the front, we're going to get this pipe hoop or hoop pipe off of here. And we'll get as much drained out of here as we can. There's probably still going to be a little bit of oil in these cylinders. I may just take them right off. And if you flip them over, what's in them will drain out. There we go. I pulled the pin out and just turned the cylinder over, and she's draining away. We'll do the same job on the other side now. Okay, I got that stuff off. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pull off this hose and let this thing drain out. Well, we got everything draining and dripping now. And while everything drains and drips, I'm going to have a go at this because this... well, to say the least, drives me nutty. So we're going to take this all apart and, well, start again and see if we can come up with something a little bit better. Well, we got this thing moving a little bit. We'll just keep jiggling it back and forth and working oil into it, and I think we'll be okay. Okay, that's pretty good for now. You can see, though, down at this end, we've got all kinds of play and slop to fix up. But we'll get that fixed up in due time. What I'm going to do now is cut out this bolt because it's put in from the back side and it interferes with the tube there. When we put the new one in, we'll put it from this side. I have a few good ideas once in a while. So we'll just get in there with the zip wheel and cut it. And then we'll see what we can do about starting to rebuild all this. That's better. We made a better handle so far. Now I'm going to, I'll get the valve kind of hung back on there, and we'll work out tightening up the linkage, and hopefully, well, we can't make it any worse, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's this all back together now, and I have to say that works a heck of a lot better than it worked before. Good. Just a little bit of, you can see I welded a tube into the bottom of the handle and put a bolt right through it for it to run on, rather than it was just flopping around on a bolt that was stuck in there. And I was able to open this up to 3/8. It had just like a 1/4 inch bolt or something, and it was flopping all around. So that's pretty good. I'm good with that. Now I have to make some of these. Not bad. Between this thing here, I bought this 20 years ago, and today was the first time I ever used it. Yeah, awesome. So between that and this little gizmo that goes in the jaws of the vise, I think we've done a pretty good job reproducing these things. I really only have to make 2, because this one that I took off will hold the one pipe up and around here somewhere, and the other end of it's kind of held by the valve, and then 2 on that side, and we'll be all set. So now I gotta go, I'm gonna drill the holes in them, and then I have to cut them all to length and finish the ends, and we can put it together. I forgot, I do need to make a third one, because I want to grab this metal pipe that comes down here for this hydraulic hose. I'd like to support it. So we'll make another one. This thing is really neat. You get what rollers you need, right? With this is a 2-inch die. It's actually 2 1/8 around that pipe, but you use a 2-inch die and it kind of springs back a little bit, and it's perfect. So you just grab this. This thing will probably bend some pretty thick metal. It has no trouble at all with this 1/8 stuff. We just want to get a U. There, just like that. So using our original as a template, we mark for our bend. And then we'll mark, of course, we'll mark the other one too. Then we use this thing. I think there's a way I can do it on this too, but I'm proud of myself for doing the round part. We'll learn how to do the rest of it later. It does have this attachment here for doing 90-degree bends, but for now I'm happy. We'll just do it this way. See, you can see there, that works just fine. Just a little more. There. My dad got me this thing years ago. Pretty cool, eh? Now we'll bend up the other one, then we'll bend the other side. There we go. Now we're going to mark for our next bend. Like that. And our next one. Although that'll be on the back side. I'll need to mark on the back side, but this thing here actually leaves a mark that we'll use as a guide. I'll show you when we get there. And that's how we make them. Now I got to go and I've center punched where I need my holes. I'm going to go drill them out. Then we come back and we have to cut them all to length and finish the ends. Now I got them all cut to length. We'll go over to the bench grinder and clean up the ends of them. So now we're going to start working on the actual loader plumbing, the hard lines. The situation we had over here, coming off of this T, the one that came down here to join to the flex hose was too long. It needed to be 6 inches long, and it's about 14, which put a real kink in our hose. So the one that was up here that joins to the I don't know, the one that goes over to there, it wasn't threaded straight. So it pointed this way or pointed that way or up or down depending on where you positioned it. So this one here is long enough to make a new one from here, and the old one from here is long enough that I can cut the crooked end off it and rethread it straight and use it here. it's win-win. So first thing we got to do, this is the old lower one. We're going to cut it off to 8.5 inches so we can use it in the top. Here we go. Got our Princess Auto pipe threader. This is another thing I've had for a very long time and I've only used a couple of odd times. But let me tell you, when you need it, it's a handy old thing to have. Threads them nice and straight. So there's that one back in. Now we have to shorten the lower one. This one here needs to be a 6-inch nipple, and we're going to cut both ends off because this end is threaded crooked, and this end you can see the thread, it's all chewed up. There's our lower pipe all fixed up and put back in. It just looks so much better. Now what we got to do is the hoop. The hoop, we got to see if we can, this has got a lot of bends in it, so we're going to see if we can straighten this out, and then we'll get it back on. Well, I have to say that's pretty darn good. That's solid like rock, man. Good. Now we can go ahead and put our hoses on, and that's the back end of this thing all done. I've moved to the front now. I put the drain plug back in the bottom of the frame there. I put the pressure hose back on, and we put a new suction hose on it. So now, while I start fiddling around with stuff here on the bucket, I'm going to start filling it. Now over here you can see, I think that's some kind of a bleed or a vent, so I've got that plug out. I'm going to start filling it through here, and it says to fill it right up to there. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, and apparently it takes all of one of these 5-gallon buckets of oil, and we're going to be putting in the universal tractor fluid like we put in the transmission. I think I'm slowly going to start switching everything around here to that stuff exclusively because it's just easier. It's one less thing I have to stock instead of having that for one thing and gear oil for the other thing and something else for something else. We're just going to run that stuff in everything. It works nice all season, and you know, it's the modern day stuff. Well, I've got it filled up to here. Now we'll put our plug in. Oh, we're getting there. Was making some funny gurgling noises a minute ago. That's 3 of them now. So we've put about 15 quarts in it. We've got another 5 quarts in there. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, still don't see anything there. So we haven't got her quite filled up yet. We'll let that sit there for a few minutes and get the dregs out of the bucket. I'm probably not going to put any more oil in it until after I've started it up and cycled everything through, because we've probably got oil to about here, but everything on the output side of the pump, up here, all this line, all this, the rams are probably out to about there. There's a lot of air that needs to be displaced with oil. So once we start it up, put the thing up and down a couple of times to purge it all out, then we'll put the rest of the oil in and we should be good. And rather than a plain pipe plug that was in there before, we put a breather on it. Now we got to deal with this. This is the mechanism for the trip bucket, and it's just all falling apart. So we're going to take this all apart and see what we could do about tightening it up. Now here's something strange. This tab on the boom here is the pivot point of our trip bucket lever, and I just touched it and it just broke. So we're going to go ahead and get that welded back on. That was quite strange, but we live in a strange world, so strange things are going to happen. So we'll get that welded on. I guess while we got the welder out, we'll get this jigged up and fix our crack over here. I've got this held together with a piece of angle iron clamped over it, and I've kind of gouged it out where I could get with the grinder just around the back here. So we're going to start by welding that little bit of it there, and then we should be able to take the clamps off and start working our way around, and we should be able to do a decent repair. I'm not going to fish plate it or anything for now. We'll see how it does. If it breaks again, then I'll get a piece of pipe the next size bigger, and we'll fish plate it with a piece of pipe. But hopefully it'll be okay like this. All right, well, I'm gonna start it up and see if this thing will go up. And then see if it'll come down. First, we got to see if it'll start. Should be okay. It started right up yesterday after we fiddled around with some stuff. Big mess. Always a big mess in here. And hopefully it won't smoke as much today because I put normal gas in it, not two-stroke gas. Maybe I'll come over to this side. Okay. Oh. Okay, let's see what happens. There she goes. All right. And down. Oh! Okay. I guess we don't put a breather in it, we put a plug in it. Alright. Oh, what a mess. Good thing I had the presence of mind to put a bucket under it. So, mental note, don't do that. Let's put the big plug back in. Big plug. Well, at least the loader works. You hear there's air going through it. We're going to move this concrete. Oh, it does smoke. And it goes high, eh? Yeah, it does run nice. We'll just let her go till she runs out of gas. Oh, the manual said fill it up till it's gurgling out the plug. Well, it's gurgling out the plug. I guess that means she's full. Now that I topped it up, we'll start it up. And put her up and down a couple more times. Yeah, instant response. That's good. That's awesome. Now we got to work on some pins. Somewhere along the line, somebody I think added this. It's like a little limit chain that you stick a pin in there and it limits how much the bucket will dump. But it looks like they had a 5/8 pin through there. All I have is 3/4 pins. So I'm in the process of drilling through the end of the bucket there, but of course, every battery is dead all at the same time. So I'm waiting on a battery to charge and we'll finish that off. But for now, what we can do, the pivot pins for the bucket, this one you can see there, it's got a farmer cotter pin in it, spiral framing nail. So we're gonna take that out, knock the pin out, make sure it's cleaned up and free, and we'll put it back in with a hitch pin in it, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. It took a bit of banging and smashing to get the pin out of this end of the bucket, but we got it. And then I took it over and I put it in the lathe and just took, I didn't really cut anything off it. You could see there where it was a little deformed, probably from me hitting it with a sledgehammer. It took that off. And then it just took the layer of rust off it. So we're back down to kind of the original size. So we'll slather it up with anti-seize and get her back in there. And we'll put a hitch pin in it instead of a nail. This is what they were using for a pin on the other side. So, well, we're making a new one. There we go. We've got it down to the right diameter. Now we got to cut it to length, drill the hole for the pin, and end face it. So here's our new pin. I think it turned out pretty good. We'll get it slathered up with anti-seize and stick it in and see how it looks. Perfect. That's a lot better than what was there. Now, if you remember, hopefully my batteries are charged up. We got to continue working on this and come up with some kind of a pin that goes through there. So when we want to limit how much our bucket dumps, we could put this check chain on there and do that. I'm not sure the circumstances you'd need to do that, but somewhere in the past, somebody thought they needed it to do that, so who are we to argue? Well, that went pretty well. Found an old pin. It's a little loose at this end, but good enough. It's in there. That's the main thing. And it's a long pin because of this gusset here. To get the clip on, I wouldn't want to be reaching all the way around there, so it's a little bit long. That works out perfect. Now it looks to me like there should be on either side here a bolt holding this together. So this should be originally how this would be is you can see the bucket's two pieces, right? There's the main bucket and it would have the forks sticking out of it. And that would be for manure. And if you wanted to move material like gravel or loose dirt or something, you would slide this piece. You can see it's got little hoops. Slide this piece over the tines and then put a bolt on either side. Now I kind of think that, no, it hasn't been welded on. So yeah, we need to put a bolt in here on either side. Alrighty, it took me a second to figure it out. But these tabs should be on the outside, not the inside. So we're going to try and slide this thing forward. It doesn't have to go too far. We'll try and slide it forward, get the tabs out to the outside, and then knock it back on. All right, I got it slid out about 1.5 inches. It's pretty tight on those spikes, but we had it coming. I've got this one popped out already. And that one, I just got to bend it out because it's out too far. I can't pop it over the edge like I did on this one. So we'll grab some water pump pliers, give it a tweak, and then we can start to try and knock this thing back in. I went around and pumped a little bit of grease into every grease fitting on the loader. And with that, it is done. We got the loader all fixed up. That was great, eh? It was a bit of work for something that didn't look too bad to start with, you know. But hey, we got her done. So that'll do it for this one. Now we can move on to the one I've been waiting for. In the next video, we're going to put this bloody thing all back together and get it the heck out of my shop and put it back to work. So anyway, until then, I'd like to thank you for tuning into the Claremont Classic Garage. Hope we'll see you then. And until then, I'm Kevin saying so long for now.